folks, you're with Tacitus Today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the leftist, and there's a bit of a media, globalist leftist media campaign going on at the moment to depict or to suggest or portray that young women, schoolgirls in particular, in Afghanistan are being evilly denied by the patriarchy, the Nazis, Hitler personally, denying them a senior high school, and university, advanced university education. And this is being done by the evil Islamist patriarchy. Now, rather than attack Islam or attack Islamic values or behaviors or social structures, they've pivoted away here and there. It's not the Islamic society. It's misogyny. It's patriarchy. It's oppression. It's Nazis and yada yada. So they've gone down that path, which sidesteps the issue that Afghanistan is run as an Islamic sort of caliphate, and they're running their society consistent with Islamic teachings and values. Now, whereas I may or may not disagree with that, I don't think I've got a right to tell them hey, you're not doing leftist, feminist, Western liberal education and social structures here. You're bad. No, I wouldn't do that. They're doing what they believe in and what they think works best for their situation. Again, I may not agree with it, but that doesn't mean I've got the right to tell them or condemn them or criticize them. Why is what they're doing better or worse? And in America, if you protest a rigged election, they can throw you in prison arbitrarily for it. Why is that acceptable? But what the Afghans are doing is not acceptable, for example. So let's look at it in the wider angle there. But coming to these leftist articles, that the article claims, and there's been a few, and they've all popped up at about the same time, which suggests or clearly indicates that it's coordinated propaganda. But they're saying that Islamic values, this is for education, where girls finish their education at around 11 years old, and boys finish their education at about 13. Now, both boys and girls can go on to higher education, but this is more a religious instruction and more detailed study of the Quran and its meaning and so on. So it goes very much down the path of theology rather than reading and writing. Now, because you have to understand the Quran intimately and you have to be able to recreate or discuss it in writing, and then literacy would improve obviously as you carry on. It is available to girls to stay on, so it's not like girls are stopped. But the article suggests, or the ones that I've seen, don't suggest, they assert that girls are cruelly prevented from, and it goes very, Sula is 11 years old and she wants to become a rocket scientist. Sula wants to become a triple PhD at 11 years old, by the way, a PhD, and be the first woman, the first brown woman to stand on the surface of the planet of Mars, and she's being cruelly fucking denied this. Her dream is being ripped from her arms by fucking Nazis. So this is the sort of direction they go in. Now, what they fail to mention is that girls stop education at 11 and boys at 13. So it's not like everyone else except Sula is being given a PhD. Now, there are no advanced universities anyway in Afghanistan, so Sula ain't going to be studying rocket science or anything else. In terms of like high school and senior high school, again, after 13, it's mainly theological studies. Not that no one can study something else if they want to, but really, if you want to go on with any sort of state support and assistance, it typically is studying the Quran and the scriptures sort of in and around the Quran to go on to become a theologian of some sort. And there are many theological debating societies and discussion groups, things like that. And that's really where advanced education goes. So this depiction that it's all an anti-feminist and patriarchy is hardly accurate. Now let's have a look at Afghanistan, where child mortality rate is 25%, where something like 15% of the population have running water in their house or dwelling, or have electric lights, or having, where 80% of the population live on goat herding and live hand to mouth as peasants. Whatever they grow in their little plot of land is it. They've got hardly any surplus at all beyond that. So we're looking at a dirt poor country where 1 in 4 infants born die, and the death rate of people generally from disease and so on is very high by any standard. They've got hardly any fucking doctors there. It's a poor, dirt poor basket case country, and a lot of these people have to walk miles just to get to the nearest well. So you'd think there'd be a whole lot of things you'd put before you would go down the path of whether or not 11-year-old girls will have the opportunity to become rocket scientists. So you'd think there'd be a lot of priorities, or boys for them, a lot of priorities beforehand, but those couched in very feminist. Now, to justify it, the leader of lesbians in the United Nations says this is outrageous oppression committed by Nazis, and only Hitler would do this. And then Amnesty International, again, the lesbian activist, says that this is the most evil thing since, and so on. So they only go to people who are prepared to vomit propaganda in order to justify this. But if they gave a balanced thing, saying, look, girls have finished their education at 11, boys at 13, it's theological, consistent with society, this means that any boy or girl that wants to become a rocket scientist has very few opportunities in a dirt poor third world country, for fuck's sake. But they explain it as if all these things are available. There are these towering universities where rocket science is taught everywhere, but only girls are not allowed to do it. And so they describe it in that way, but it's incredibly dishonest and completely inaccurate, and failure to give reliable, accurate context or even accurate information generally is, and it's just turned into a hysterical leftist, feminist, Marxist, communist bullshit hit piece. And this is very typical of how the globalist indoctrination media operate, and the way they put these stories. And any journalist worth 1 cent you would think at least give a balanced perspective. But there is no attempt at balance here, and there's just a clear and obvious desire to put forward ideology and thus indoctrination. You've been a Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.